Today we're going to be building a real budget gaming PC in what I was told was the most popular PC for gamers right now, at least in Australia. And this is the Thermaltake View 170 TG ARGB. So apparently it's got 3 fans pre-installed, they're ARGB, and you've got like this mini fish tank kind of look, which the price, it's 69 Australian dollars, that leaves it with a lot of value on the table, at least when we're looking for something that looks good and what I'm going to be testing for here today hopefully performs good, because the power consumption of these parts, we're going to show you guys the whole tally of the build up here today, where we've got a budget GTX 1080 that we got off the used market, used power supply, 2 used drives, and a used Dell Optiplex board, where this whole tally is going to be really cheap, but also the power consumption here will be more indicative of, say, a mid-range gaming PC. So if you're looking to build in this case, then hopefully today's video will serve you of some value. But also another reason I'm building this PC up really quickly is I actually want to get it listed up tonight. So I want to see if this Thermaltake View 170 is actually going to help sell the PC, because I'm looking for that best value aesthetics mixed in with performance. Hopefully this thing can deliver. And it's kind of sad because down here we've got all these, these are all mid-range PCs. They're all built up, and I've had them built up for a while now, and they're just chilling there. It's just crickets. Nobody wants to buy them. Even though in my opinion, I think RTX 3060 Ti's and 3070s, that's where the value is right now. The market doesn't care. They want entry-level PCs, because at least I'm sold out of entry-level PCs. And when I look on the market, there's actually no entry-level PCs that are really available. So this 500 Aussie dollar price point seems to be moving a lot quicker from the start of this month. And so hopefully I can deliver. But let's build up this PC, talk about if this case, the build quality is any good, and what the gaming performance is like as well with some of these budget parts right after today's video sponsor. If you want to get rid of this annoying activate Windows message, then today's video sponsor SCD Keys has you covered for as little as $15 US. After you enter that coupon code BFTYC, you can cop yourself a legit single end user license today. Also works for Windows 11 Pro too. Links in description below. So we've now completed the build. It actually was a really straightforward build in this case, despite it being a little bit tight. But the thing is, it's actually not, for instance, Austin Powers Gold Member. It's just tight. So I have built-in cases before that are really constricted. This one, you've got enough room to the point where we've actually got a power supply here. It's an FSP 550 watt. And because we're using adapters for the PCIe cables as well as an adapter for the motherboard, we've just got essentially a jungle sandwich down the bottom here. And this case just has a lot of room down here to put all these extra cables in. Another cool thing is the motherboard extension screw ports here extend all the way out. And even then, if you're mounting a weird motherboard like this Dell one, it extends further than that, it's still gonna be an okay fit. But the only negative I can pull up so far is the fact that it doesn't come included with a 5-volt addressable RGB controller. So you're essentially going to have this on your motherboard, or you're gonna have to bring your own controller to the table. I have a heap of these that I collect them over the years whenever I can, and they come in handy like this. But just keep in mind, this doesn't have the ARGB controller. And if you're getting, say, an A620 budget motherboard, a lot of those boards also don't have the ARGB controller on board. So you will have to bring yours to the table with this case. Now, in terms of the 3 fans, they can daisy chain to each other, just like the ARGB connection points, but then you'll only need 1 additional 4-pin PWM fan header to get your additional 3 fans working. But that said, let's give this thing a beautiful photo shoot, put it up for sale, and then test out some temperatures with the side panel off versus it on, and that'll just tell you if the case's airflow is bad. And then we'll also test out the FPS on what this budget rig can do in a couple of modern titles. Now, also because it's a Dell motherboard, unfortunately, there's not much we can do in the way of tuning the CPU and the RAM speeds. So we're now at the next morning. We had to skip testing last night because we had cheap Tuesdays for 2-for-1 pizzas where I'm at, and that's some of the best value you can get. But anyhow, this PC right here, there's some really good news with this case. The first thing is the temperatures with the GPU. When I tested it out with the side panel off, we were getting 76 degrees on this 1080 as well as an 87 hotspot. With the glass on, went up to around 79 and 90. So you're getting about 3 degrees tacked on for having this side panel on, which isn't too bad. In other words, for a mid-range build, it'll actually do a fine job because this 1080 is using around 200 watts. So if you're looking at RTX 3060s, 3060 Ti's, RX 6700 XTs and stuff like that, though with your CPU cooler, you may wish to get a 240mm rad or something and push the hot air out the top if you're starting to put more components in this case. Though overall, very impressed. The fan noises from the get-go, they also don't get loud even when things ramp up quite a bit. So overall, really impressive case from Thermaltake here. This View 170 definitely checks out. The only negative, as we said before, was that ARGB controller. Though at this stage, you may be wondering about the build's performance, especially when it comes to gaming. And the first one, Black Myth Wukong's Command. We tested this, the recommended settings at the start. It went into like very high settings with this kind of setup, and it was just like a stuttery mess. Not to mention we're only getting like 40 average FPS. Then we dropped it down to 1080p low settings with the 66 resolution scale on TSR. Really good experience then. We're getting like 70 average FPS with a 0.1% low of 12. So very smooth experience after that. Went into Final Fantasy 16 and then did the same kind of thing, put it at 1080p low settings, and we're getting around, again, 70 average FPS. And then the last game we tested here was Fortnite with high textures, low settings, and we were getting around 80 average FPS. So this little i7 4790, it can definitely still get up and boogie, especially with the GTX 1080. And we also, in terms of Windows, we just applied this inspector and turned off all this crap just to give this system the best chance it has. Because as we said before, there's really no tuning on the motherboard side with that DDR3 memory and that budget CPU cooler. But in terms of gaming, when we were gaming, the temperatures were absolutely fine on both the CPU and the GPU. So overall, this whole build, I think it ended up being an absolute winner. So I can definitely recommend a budget case like this. It's actually funny because the retailer themselves, I know the guys there at the shop, they said, Brian, you got to get onto this. This one actually is doing very well in terms of people who are buying gaming PCs from us. So we recommend you try it out and see how it goes with a flip. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to try put this thing up for sale very soon, and I'll let you guys know in the comments how this thing goes in terms of trajectory, if it's going to sell faster than what I usually had up around this price point. And so at 69 Aussie dollars and at 45 USD, this case is definitely an expensive component in the whole cart that we've got here today in terms of the build tally. But nowadays, I think more than ever, the aesthetics is so important. It's just never been this important to get the aesthetics right, even on the entry-level, low-range kind of PCs. And so putting a little bit of extra money in, but hopefully that lets us sell our PC just that much easier than what we're used to. And in terms of putting something like this together, if you guys want to put together a budget rig, GTX 1080 and a budget i7 4790, all these components can just be had for absolutely dirt cheap nowadays. So if you want to save money and get an even cheaper case, just find something off the used market, you can put together this thing way cheaper than what we did here today too. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, but in terms of this Thermaltake View 170, I thought I'd give it a try, just try some budget options, especially the stuff that people are buying a lot more over the more expensive stuff. So if you enjoyed this one, be sure to hit that like button and let us know in the comment section below if you have any questions about the stuff we used here today. And I look forward to seeing you guys in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.